TJ here again, flying solo here at the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. And in this segment, I want to talk about TDS. TDS on full display. Trump Derangement Syndrome. I always thought of it as a mental condition. President Trump has basically brought to light the extent of those suffering from TDS. As to quote Mac, my associate here, a lot of times Mac would make the comment that whoever's response was disproportionate to the act. Well, TDS, the way these people respond politically, this is disproportionate to the whole political climate. They're out of control. You know, we saw it when Donald Trump was running for president. They would attack the people coming or going from the rallies, and if I'm not mistaken, the one in Chicago even had to be canceled because the police couldn't or wouldn't guarantee the safety of those wanting to attend the rally. And you know, people were being physically assaulted. I personally believe this mindset before what became known as TDS, it already existed in that they would have obscene political ads. And I remember 20, 30 years ago, the political ad of a unnamed Republican politician pushing an elderly woman in a wheelchair off the cliff, accusing Republicans of that's what they want to do to Granny. And the Republican establishment didn't want to respond or challenge the obscenity of that particular political ad. There were general accusations repeatedly of how the Republicans wanted to starve children through doing away with school lunch programs. They said that children would starve, and they accused the Republicans of wanting to starve the elderly, and some who may not be old enough. But they even went as far as to accuse Republicans of wanting the elderly to eat cat and dog food because that's all they could afford. You know, and I just remember getting so infuriated, and all of this was going unchallenged because the Republican establishment was so gutless. You know, to us average Joes in flyover country, we just got so frustrated, and Donald Trump, you know, kind of sensed this. He looked out, you know, into the landscape here, and he said, "Man, there's a whole lot of people in this country that aren't happy with D.C. Period," and so he thought he'd give it a shot, run for president, and lo and behold, he won. But I'll tell you why he's really so loved and supported is he had no qualms in hitting the Democrats back harder than they were hitting him or even us. And for the first time, us average Joes in flyover country saw someone running for office who was willing to defend us at all cost. And of course, you know, we loved it. And you know, I recall that how when Donald Trump was running for president, he would even refer to Hillary as a criminal, which I feel she was. That whole Clinton Foundation was a money laundering scheme, and he called her out for it. And the Republican establishment, they were too gutless to do it. Okay, well, now that Donald Trump is now President Donald Trump, he's allowed for this TDS syndrome to be on full display, and I'd just like to go down a list, and one of Mac's favorite words, litany, a litany of instances. And here's the thing. In most of these, they were dismissed as isolated, yet we have a whole list of isolated incidents. It's obscene, okay? July 5th, 2018, Whataburger, man throws a drink and snatches the MAGA hat off a teen. And, you know, that guy, I don't know if the guy went to jail, but he sure should have. You know, the kid was sitting there, and how dare he wear a MAGA hat, you know? The following year, July 22nd, Nick Sandman, another teen, is in D.C. I believe he was at a Right for Life event, and you had some Indian guy and others uh, beating their drums and yelling in his face, and all he did wrong was stand there and hold his ground. So much so that even the Republican establishment, Never Trumpers, the very next day condemned Nick Sandmann. How dare you stand there and smirk at these people who are yelling in your face? And we got more. Not too long ago, a guy from New Hampshire by the name of Patrick Bradley, he assaulted 3 Trump supporters. It started with him hitting a 15-year-old, and look at it. They're even attacking teens, and it's being dismissed. It's this is no big deal, you know. 2 others came to the defense of the 15-year-old, so this Bradley guy took on all 3 of them. They went to his Facebook page and found that he's an avid supporter of Antifa and espoused communism. Here's one that I'm sure everyone recalls, and this one was pretty bad. How the shortly after the election in 2017, well, the election was in 2016, but in 2017, a Bernie bro shot up a ball field where you had a bunch of Republican politicians practicing for a hardball game against Democrats. I guess something that occurs yearly. And he went there and said, "Hey, are these guys Republican?" And someone said yes, and he went back to his car or wherever and came out with, I think he had an AR, and started shooting them up, and Representative Steve Scalise almost died. Yet that's just summarily dismissed. An isolated incident. You got a guy in Florida. He runs with his van, runs down a President Trump booth. You got supporters looking to get people sign up and register to vote and whatnot, and you know, he tells the police, well, he waited till the tent was empty. Yet cell phone video shows that there were 6 people that almost got run over by this guy, suffering from TDS. Let's see, you got a retired New York police detective. He was celebrating his 50th birthday. He was wearing a red hat, similarly designed to the MAGA design, but instead it said "Make 50 Great Again." He was also wearing a shirt with a flag that said "Making America Great Since 1970." Yet this woman, she misreads the hat, snatches his shoulder, spins him around, hits him in the face, and drew blood, broke his skin and drew blood. It's summarily dismissed. Let's see. You got a guy in California. He tried to burn down Republican headquarters. Only spent 1 day in jail. You know, the guy commits arson and gets 1 day in jail because it was a Republican headquarters. Another guy was smashing windows, riding his bike and smashing windows. Some weeks back also, a female Trump supporter attempted to ram the barricades at Mar-a-Lago. When they went to her Facebook page, it was, the word is, it was loaded with pictures of pink pussy hats. Let's see. Last year, there was the report of a Oriental guy in Manhattan, and he was walking to Chinatown for dinner, and he was wearing a MAGA hat, and he was brutally beaten. The report is cops dismissed it as isolated and unimportant. You know, Donald Trump Jr. has commented on some of this nonsense. You know, his comment was, "Why is no one covering the act of political terrorism on Trump supporters simply registering to vote?" So he calls it, you know, political terrorism. When you think about it, Donald Jr. is right. What's being committed against us is political terrorism. He continues, "If the shoe was on the other foot, it would be the biggest story of the month." He feels Democrat politicians are kind of giving them a wink and a nod, and it's called tacit approval. You know, I'm not going to tell you it's right. I'm not going to tell you it's wrong. And by the way, here's a wink. Okay. Let's see. Then, you know, some months back we did a video with regarding Project Veritas. doing videos of the Bernie bros saying how they wanted to burn down the cities if Bernie didn't win, put us Trump supporters in the gulag, send us to re-education camps, and I do believe these guys meant it. I read an article, and I don't remember where, but Rudy Giuliani was being interviewed on CNN, and in the course of the interview, he made the comment that he was concerned for his life and well-being, how he feels certain Democrat operatives would just as soon see him dead. So that's what Rudy Giuliani had to say when he was on Fox News. So there you have it. Just some lists, isolated incidents of people suffering from TDS on full display. You know, the Democrats, they've lost at the ballot box, and I hope they continue to. You know, we kind of dropped the ball 2 years ago, and now we're suffering for it, so I hope that woke some people up. They're beginning to lose in the courts, thanks in part to the teamwork of President Trump and Mitch McConnell, also perversely nicknamed Cocaine Mitch. I did a video on how he earned that nickname. Given their delusional state of mind, they're not thinking properly, and since they believe that their cause is so righteous and just, why can't they? These people are really in court making their case to the judge, to the police. Don't you understand how dangerous these Republicans are? And they mean it. They're in a delusional state of mind. So we must remain committed and vigilant. We got to support President Trump. We got to support each other. Got to look out for each other. And in closing, be safe. Watch your six. And to those suffering from TDS, don't tread on me.